Coming this fall from SJS Direct in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. You can pre-order your copy of The Man Crisis today on Amazon.com. About a week ago, a photograph of former Cosby Show star Goffrey Owens surfaced showing him working as a cashier at Trader Joe's. And there were some out here who wanted to shame Goffrey Owens for taking that job as a cashier. Now, when it comes down to Goffrey Owens, I know what Goffrey Owens is going through because I went through it myself way back in the early to mid 90s. Now, in 1994, I graduated from college with a degree in business administration. And I thought that with this degree, I would start getting work opportunities. Unfortunately, after searching the job market for 2 years, I just couldn't find anything. And with the help of my father, I was able to find a job working at a food emporium as what they told me in the beginning was going to be a cashier position, but it turned out to be starting out as a stock position. Now, this job only paid $5 an hour, but I was just glad to have it because when it came down to jobs, I really wanted to have one, and I wanted to start finding a way to making my own living. But I couldn't find opportunities because many employers just did not want to take a risk on me in spite of having a 3.95 GPA and graduating at the top of my class. Most employers then would come back to me with the old excuse argument. Now, I know what Goffrey Owens is going through again, because I had to make that sacrifice myself, and it takes a lot of great character for a man like Goffrey Owens, who was one of the regulars on the Cosby Show, to go out here and take that job doing a cashier's work at this Trader Joe's, because it shows what type of man he was. This is a man who is willing to do what he needs to do in order so his family can survive out here. And he was doing something as related to showing how great his character was by going out here and taking that cashier job. And I know what that is because I had to do the exact same thing myself back in 1996. So people want to sit there and they want to criticize Goffrey Owens. They want to say he could do better, he could get better jobs. But that's not usually the case at all. In order to get jobs, you need contacts and you need to know people. And when it comes down to guys like Goffrey Owens, a lot of times the contacts, they dry up over time. And when it comes down to black actors over a certain age, there aren't that many roles for them. So a guy like Goffrey Owens, he doesn't really have that many options as people think he has. A lot of people sit there and say, oh, Goffrey Owens should be able to go out here and pull any sort of acting job. No, that's not the case at all, especially for black actors. As I've stated in numerous videos, most times, most studios just don't want to hire older black actors, and they don't really write roles for them because they aren't bankable stars. So your Goffrey Owens right now is probably between roles, and right now he's just looking for a job that will be able to help him pay the bills and be able to help him take care of his family. And the reason why he's doing that is because many networks decided they wanted to cut the Cosby Show, and when they cut the Cosby Show, they cut Goffrey Owens' ability to make royalties. So in their attempts to try to destroy Bill Cosby, the ripple effect affected Goffrey Owens and his ability to take care of his family. This is what people don't understand when they sit there and get angry and get racist about Bill Cosby. It wasn't just hurting Bill Cosby when networks like Bounce TV decided to end running the Cosby Show. It affected people like Goffrey Owens because many of those actors were, as working actors, they don't really make that much money from acting gigs, and they usually don't get a lot of acting gigs, especially when they get older. This is something I went in depth discussing in my book All About Marilyn. And those royalties over time, like the last 30 years since the Cosby Show has been on, or 25 years, those royalties start to dry up to small change, and they get even smaller when people decide to maliciously go after people like Bill Cosby. So people like Jeffrey Owens wind up suffering as a result. And people, again, they wanted to believe, oh, Jeffrey Owens is this big-time, rich, established actor. No, that's not the case for most actors out here. Most actors out here who are working actors, they will get a nice gig for a while, they'll save their money, and if there's nothing going, they'll go and get themselves a nice regular job somewhere if they can find a regular job. And they'll work that regular job when they can't find acting gigs, and then if they find an acting gig and it's stable, they'll stay with that acting gig until it runs out and then go back to a regular job. This is how actors made their living ever since the inception of Hollywood. There are two types of actors. There are your stars, and they make millions of dollars, but then there are your working actors. And your working actors, they usually have to go out here and find gigs on the regular with their agent and go to different auditions. And while they're doing that, they're working a day job in order to make a living. So you might see a working actor in a movie somewhere or a TV show somewhere, but in the off season, these are guys who are working someplace else. They might be working in an office, or they might be doing temping. But the reason why they're doing that is because it's the only way they can pay their bills. So that's why I have all the respect for Jeffrey Owens, because he was doing what a man would do in order to make a living. Now, he wasn't thinking about his status or his celebrity. He was thinking about the day-to-day of taking care of a family, taking care of business, and being a man. And this is something we need to really stand up for, because when I look at these media reports that are taking jabs at Jeffrey Owens, it's just another way to try to emasculate and degrade a black man for doing what a black man should be doing. Because we need to praise Jeffrey Owens for going out here and doing what a black man does, because there aren't that many men out there with the character of a man like a Jeffrey Owens or myself who would be willing to take any job to make that living. Now, I'm in a situation where I've been out of work for 9 years, going on 10, and I look at Jeffrey Owens and I really am happy for him, because I know how hard it is to find even a job at a place like Trader Joe's, and I know how tough it is to get those jobs these days. And even a guy like Jeffrey Owens, it's hard for him to get that type of work. And I think he should be grateful and thankful to have that job, because I would love to have that type of job. And I've applied many times for jobs at places like your Trader Joe's, your Targets, your Fairways, and many other stores. And I would be glad to take those jobs just to have some money in my pocket. And that's something that I would want to do, because again, when you are in a situation where you've been out of work and you're looking to make some money, you will take these type of jobs just to get over the dark period. And I know what he's doing. He's just taking this job to get over a dark period or a rough period, and he's not really thinking about, fame and notoriety. He was just thinking about going from day to day, because I know what that's like, because when you've been out of work for a long time and you get a gig doing something, even if it's being a cashier in a supermarket, you're just thinking about your survival, you're just thinking about your day-to-day, and you're just thinking about how you're going to get through to the next day. And that's probably what Jeffrey Owens was probably thinking about while he was working at that Trader Joe's. And then you had this female who decided to take this picture of him and then try to embarrass him and then the media went and took it. But they just did not understand what this brother was going through. I know what this brother was going through, because I'm experiencing it right now. And I know what it means, what this job would mean to a brother like him. What this job means to him, again, is a way for him to go out here and make his own living and make his own way. And the reason why he's doing that, again, is because it's about him being a man. Now, Tyler Perry came along and made Jeffrey Owens an offer, and I understood why your Jeffrey Owens turned that offer down, because that offer comes out of pity. And when it comes down to men don't want anything out of pity, because pity, again, eventually turns into contempt, and it leads to people trying to draw on the account with you, saying that they did this for you out of pity, they felt sorry for you, And again, a man wants to do things where he can not only earn his own living, but he can also earn the respect of others. Because when a man is trying to go his own way and trying to make his own living, what he's trying to do is he wants to show people that he can be a man and stand on his own 2 feet. He can be a man and do the things that men do. He can be a man and take care of his own business. And he can be a man who can take responsibility for himself. And these character traits and intangibles of manhood, these are things that we need to value and appreciate. Because when I see Goffrey Owens, again, working in a Trader Joe's, I see a man with great character, a man with great conscientiousness, and a man willing to do what needs to be done in order to take care of his family. He put his ego aside, he put social status aside, and he did this again because it was all about taking care of the needs of himself and the needs of his family and taking care of what needed to be taken care of. And these, again, are character traits we need to celebrate in men, but we don't celebrate them about men in our gynocentric society, because in our gynocentric society, it's all about social status, it's all about men being in high places, and it's all about men being big shots. But what makes a man a great man is, again, having the great character to be humble and do what needs to be done to take care of a family. That's what I respect about Goffrey Owens working at that Trader Joe's, because that's the same type of character I had to show when I went to go work at Food Emporium back in 1996. It meant that I had to take whatever job I could take and then go out here and do what needed to be done. And that's something, again, people need to appreciate in people. That's something we need to value. That's not something we need to ridicule and ostracize. And it just shows us how completely backwards people are out here, that they would sit there and ridicule Goffrey Owens for doing something that any decent man of character would do. A decent man of character is not going to think about his reputation or his status. He's going to be thinking about doing what needs to be done and making sure that it's being done because it's the right thing to do. And that's, again, things we need to applaud, because when I look at Goffrey Owens, I see that he learned great lessons from Bill Cosby, and those lessons are shown in his actions, and his actions define what great character this man has, because it takes a man of character to go down to a place like a Trader Joe's or a Target or a Walmart or any other store out here, even though he has a great pedigree and a great resume, and still go work at that job because it's the only job he could get. Because what most people don't understand about black men is that it's hard for us to get jobs and even harder for us to keep them. And it's oftentimes harder for us to keep them because we have to deal with all sorts of forces outside of our community, like the black woman who took the picture of Goffrey Owens at that store and then had that picture go viral, and the media going after Goffrey Owens, and the internal issues that a guy like Goffrey Owens would be dealing with, like anxiety and depression and other issues, something I talked about in a video I did called Internal and External Enemies of Black Men on the Job. And these are all struggles that a black man has to deal with when he enters the job market. And when it comes down to brothers in the job market, they don't get the support that they need, and they don't get the respect that they need for going out here every day. And when you see a decent brother like a Goffrey Owens, again, this is a brother we need to praise, and this is a brother we need to support, because this is a man going out here and being a man, showing a model for manhood, showing a model for masculinity, and showing a positive model for masculinity. And when it comes down to Goffrey Owens, I have nothing but respect for this brother, because this brother, again, is showing the character of a man, something I believe he probably learned on the set of the Cosby Show many years ago, and something he probably learned from his father years ago. And it's something that we need to, again, appreciate here in America, because what's sad is we don't understand what manhood is, because too many people just don't understand what the definition
of being a man is all about, because we've had too many women define what being a man is. But when I look at Goffrey Owens, I see a natural definition of what a masculine man does when he falls. And on hard times, he stands up to do what is right, and he does what's right in spite of what type of criticism he receives. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct publications, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.